Hey, this is Miss Cooper here with your Week 5 or Chapter 5 World History Commentary video. So you have a document, okay? And I'm going to read and summarize. So this week we're dealing with a continuation of the Industrial Revolution. So the essential question that we ask ourselves is how can innovation change ways of life? And that tends to be our main idea that runs throughout this unit where we deal with the Industrial Revolution. So we're going to start with a couple of different items from your textbook. And the first lesson introduces itself as discussing changes during the second Industrial Revolution. So it says here, electricity led to the light bulb, telephone, radio, subways, and machines and lights in factories. Very big change. This wave of the Industrial Revolution brought more inventions. Last week we talked about earlier inventions. We even talked about the automobile. But this week now we're looking at even more inventions. The light bulb, very big deal. A new way to make steel, the Bessemer process, allowed for improved machines, engines, and weapons. The Bessemer process. Henry Bessemer. Keep that name connected. The internal combustion engine led to the invention of ocean liners, airplanes, and automobiles. They continue to develop this concept of transportation. That's a huge change. That's an innovation. Different ideas, different ways to be transported or to transport. Production was more efficient due to the assembly line, which was pioneered by Henry Ford in 1913. Henry Ford. There's Henry Bessemer with the Bessemer process, and there's Henry Ford with the assembly line. And now we know a vehicle called Ford too, don't we? Just like in the automobile unit, when we were watching some videos on the automobile, you heard that name Benz, like Mercedes-Benz. So yeah, names come back, names go back. Okay, the second piece here talks about three different things. It talks about the new elite, the diverse middle class, and the working class or lower class. Let's look at the characteristics of these classes. So it says here, 5% of the population, but control 30 to 40% of the wealth. That means the industrialists, these are the bankers, the merchants, and the aristocracy. That's the new elite. They're only 5% of the population, but they control 30 to 40% of the wealth. I mean, they own most of the stuff, but it's only a few of them, 5% of the population. The new elite, keep that in mind. The diverse middle class. Middle group is a middle group below upper middle class. These are your lawyers, doctors, members of the civil service, business managers, engineers, architects, accountants, and chemists. These are your diverse middle class. That's the middle group. Then there's a lower middle class. These are your small shopkeepers, traders, and prosperous farmers. Farmers that are making money, not broke farmers. Then there's the new white-collar worker group. This is your traveling salespeople, bookkeepers, telephone operators, department store salespeople, and secretaries. So here's how the middle class becomes diverse. And this is the social structure in mass society. Remember in last week's material, we were talking about the growth of cities. So as cities grow, there's a hierarchy that just establishes itself. We have two more parts, the spread of democracy in Europe. So the middle bubble says Western Europe. That's the part of Europe that this is concentrating on. So Great Britain, France, and Italy. This is what's happening. In Great Britain, they have a strong parliamentary system and well-established democracy. Parliamentary, which means they have a Congress. They have people who are making laws and discussing laws, and there's some type of order going on there. Then there's France. Remember, they just come through the French Revolution and all that stuff, and Napoleon and a bunch of stuff was happening over there. So France has a third republic with a president and a parliament. Weak, but still supported by most voters. Okay, that's good. That's good. I mean, they've cleaned themselves up to an extent. Italy. It says national state without unity and with a corrupt and weak government. That's not good. They're trying to get democracy. Italy's not having a hard time. Okay, here's the last part. This is about modern ideas in the arts. So there are 6 art forms listed here. Art forms, that's what these items are. Functionalism, symbolism, impressionism, cubism, abstract, and naturalism. So functionalism is the idea that buildings like the products of machines should be functional or useful. That's functionalism. Symbolism is the idea that the external world is only a collection of symbols reflecting true reality. Impressionism. We'll see a video about Impressionist art. rejects indoor studios to paint pictures that capture the interplay of light, water, and sky reflecting the natural world. Do not get Impressionism confused with naturalism, because I'm going to jump down. Naturalism is the idea that literature should address social problems. So that and Impressionism are art forms, but they're not the same form. They don't represent the same ideas. Abstract art avoids visual reality and lets art speak directly to the soul through line and color only. That's abstract. Like it could be anything. And you're supposed to just think about what you think about it. Cubism. It uses geometric designs to recreate reality in the viewer's mind. So squares, triangles, different geometric designs. So that's your Chapter 5 study guide summarized and broken down. Please make sure you follow all instructions. Thanks for being here. Peace and blessings. Until next time.